golf's largest professional golf tour is back for season 2, which starts today. Bigger fields, bigger purses, and even more drama. Well, maybe more drama, but even more drama. Doug Smith, PGA Tour Live and Golf Channel. So happy to be with y'all right here. I got my co-host from across the pond, Rachel Drummond's in here. Rachel, what's going on?
I'm good. I'm excited, Doug. Now, did you know, starting today, the players will have 10 days to complete their round at Marco Simone, and next Sunday we'll have our first champion of season 2.
Oh, I'm pretty excited about that. I want to see who can follow up with Rasmus Rosen's Order of Merit win, and he got that wild card, don't forget, for that DP World Tour event. And Rachel, I feel like there's going to be a little back and forth with you and I this season.
First of all, your pronunciation of his name was spot on. I'm not going to say it again, but definitely back and forth, because I don't want to rub it in, but only European winners last year. Just saying, Doug. Do you think the Americans are going to step it up this year?
First and foremost, absolutely. I think, we had to do a little work on here to promote the tour here in the United States, but now the word is out about season 2 and the opportunity to win about $30,000 a tournament. So word is out, and we're going to see the Americans come to play this year, unlike we saw at the Ryder Cup. I knew you were going to take it. I knew you were going to go there eventually, so I'll just get it out of the way.
You got me. You got me. Let's take a look at the season 2 schedule. First up, we got Marco Simone Golf and Country Club, 24th of November to December 3rd. Round 2, Medina Country Club, December 8th to December 17th. 24th of November sign-ups, 8th of December sign-up closes. And round 3, Taheo Club, Gatemba Course, January 5th to January 14th. 8th of December sign-up opens, 5th of January sign-up closes. These are the first 3 events of season 2, with more scheduled to be announced coming soon. It may be virtual golf, but the stakes are high. Last year's winner, Order of Merit, Rasmus Rosen, if I get the pronunciation right, won a wild card into the BMW International Open in Munich. Now, similar things are up for grab this year. The top ranked male in the Order of Merit will win 3 wildcard invitations onto the Challenge Tour and 1 on the P World Tour. We're working for exactly the same on the female side. And how can we not forget that $30,000 check?
Now, $30,000 is a lot of money and can provide life-changing opportunities. And, it's important that, we created an tournament environment that people could play in the off-season. So, Rachel, you're now a PGA professional, and we're talking about off-season and tournament preparation. Where do you see the tour fitting in the off-season?
So when you're playing, you're looking for any opportunity to stay sharp, ready for the next year. So you'll be practicing with your PGA professional. You'll be doing, TrackMan testing. And now the fact that you can actually play and get a little bit nervous, something's on, you can win money. You can have some fun. It's crucial. It's a great way to stay sharp and get ready for the next year, because you can't replicate it in practice.
Well, definitely going to be a lot of nerves out for the folks playing. And we caught up with Ryan French. He's the man behind Monday Q, and I basically call him golf's global ambassador, looking out for mini tour players and players that rise up the ranks all over the world, just like this tour. Without further ado, let's throw it to Ryan French. Ryan French, Monday Q, what's up, man? How you living out there?
We're doing good, thank you. It's snowing, it's cold. And I'm happy to be talking golf, because I sure am not playing golf.
When you've heard about the next tour, what was your initial thoughts and reactions to it?
I get flooded with a lot of thoughts from guys and girls and players and what their concerns are and those kind of things. So there was a lot of, what is the technology going to look like? How is this going to happen? Those kind of things. And so the first year, I also get tons of feedback after events happen, whether that's on the Korn Ferry Tour or mini tours. And so, after the season, I got nothing but positive feedback. And for players that play on this level, as you guys know, to have a place to play that is cheap with no travel, with a nice payout, is exactly what these players need.
I've done LET and LPGA Q schools. A, it's not cheap. B, it's hard to replicate, even that tournament and that intense environment, not just Q schools, but every tournament. And yeah, I think completely that having the opportunity to do it is unreal. Keep replicating what you do in main tournament golf.
As you know, players need a place. I mean, Mark Baldwin's a great example. Got through first stage. He needs a place to have some sort of competitive reps as he gets ready for second stage. I use the Justin Lauer. People have used it, but Justin is the first one that told me, and it's really stuck with me, is you got to feel comfortable with being uncomfortable. And the only way to do that is to put yourself in playing situations. And so whether that's on the next tour or a mini tour, it's what you have to do. And when money is an issue, things like this or events close to home are exactly what players need.
Well, let's talk about the money, because a lot of cash up for grabs. I'm talking about $30,000 to the winner. Now, one thing a lot of people don't understand is the investment in the golf and playing and traveling. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but let us know, like, what does 30 grand do to a player anywhere in the world?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a half a season, and that's huge. I mean, it is impossible to fund a season outside of a very select people who come from family money. I see a lot of families that are like, oh, that, his dad or mom is wealthy. Well, wealthy and spending 75 or 100 grand on your kid every year over and over again, it takes an average of 4.5 years to get to the PGA Tour. There's not a lot of families in the world that have $500,000 of disposable income sitting around. So, the fact is you need money to survive. I say this all the time. There's the most deciding factor of players not making to the PGA Tour, the LPGA Tour, is money. There's plenty of players who could play on the PGA Tour or the LPGA Tour who have run out of money and now work on a range or work in an office. It's just the facts. It's the most expensive sport. Tennis has a similar, but it's not as expensive, but definitely the same thing. I say this all the time, is at single A baseball, life is not very good. You're staying in crappy hotels, riding crappy buses, eating crappy meals, but all of those crappy things are paid for. And if you go 0 for 4 and hit into 2 double plays, you're still getting a crappy paycheck at the end of the week. And golf is exactly the opposite. You have a bad week, you're in the hole, you don't get anything for free. And so things like the next tour or any mini tour where the payout is good and the investment is low is exactly what players need to survive.
I think you make such a good point. I had jobs caddying in the States. I was working in a pro shop. I was caddying in the UK. I worked in player management. I literally did everything. But was that really my golf? It was giving me cash, but it wasn't helping my golf. But having the opportunity to still stay competitive and maybe do those things at the same time, boom, I might go again.
Yeah. And again, you know better than I as your player is you're playing against players who aren't working another job, right? So the gap between you and the best players out there gets further if you have to go caddy 4 or 5 days a week, or you're tired when you go to practice, or your body doesn't feel right because you're doing these extra jobs. So anything to prevent those things from happening, so you don't have to go get a second job, you can find financial support, all of those things. There's plenty of stories of players who are trying to convince somebody to help them financially, and then they win a mini tour event, and that kind of pushes them over the edge, the person that wants to invest in them. So the trickle down effect is not just cash. It's proving for the player themselves that they belong, for maybe people who want to support them from their club financially. There is just such a huge underlying effect of winning a mini tour event. Obviously, the first one is money.
Well, look, here's a good question. Not a good question, but here's a question. Are we starting to see a new era of professional golf? Because this isn't an alternative tour, the next tour. This is more of a supplemental tour. But are we getting just a sneak peek of what professional golf may look like through the creation of the next tour and a successful first season?
Yeah, I mean, there was some hope that there was going to be a Monday qualifier on the Corn Ferry Tour that was virtual. There was one on the DP World Tour. Um, I don't think it's totally out of the question that PGA Tour Monday qualifiers at some point down the road. I don't think it's soon, but I think there is a possibility that a few of them could be played on a simulator or whatever. I think there is a huge place for this in professional golf, especially on the mini tour side. Um, I talked to a guy who has one of the best stories in golf. JJ Gray, his best friend, died from suicide, unfortunately, and his former friend's family supports him financially to help him play the game. But he texted me yesterday, and he's like, I'm running out of money. I need a place to play. What do you know about this next tour? So, it's things like that. And one win, he played in the U.S. Open last year. So people who think like they see him on TV or they see a story and they're like, oh, he's doing fine. Like, he played in the U.S. Open. The U.S. Open, you get $10,000, and when you're playing in LA for a week and you're paying a caddy and you're paying those hotel rooms, you might break even. After the week. So it's just it's a grind out there. It's a grind. So you got to find things to keep it going.
How much do you think this will help find hidden talent?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a very good possibility that there's a player who's like, I'll use Callum McNeil. Callum McNeil was working in a pro shop, and one of the members, who happens to be Hal Sutton, was like, you have to play, And so does this convince a player without that investment that he or she belongs and should try to make it in pro golf? The odds are obviously stacked against a lot of players, but I say this to players all the time who are like, I'm not sure I'm going to go, on next year. It's like, just leave with no regrets. There's no shame in not making it. But that's the problem, is there's a lot of players who are talented enough, who want to chase pro golf or continue their pro golf career, and financial, hardships just prevent that.
Now, as a victim of financial hardships, I'm grateful to TrackMan for giving me this opportunity to talk about professional golf, and I will be teeing it up. But Ryan French, we can't appreciate you so much for coming on to the next golf show. And Monday Q, that's how you get a hold of him, man, everywhere. And thank you so much for the insights. What you do is vital. So thank you, my brother.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And all the best. Thanks for having me on.
Rachel, so much information shared. Go into your own personal story. What does this tour really mean to a lot of players?
So I think I want to, go over what Ryan said. He gives such a raw, which is why I love following him, like a true account of what it's actually like to be grinding on a golf tour. It's not all private jets. It's not all 5-star hotels. It's so hard. And it's not easy. It's really not easy. Why are you laughing?
No, because I'm remembering how I used to sleep. I've slept in cars, and I've slept in the worst roach-ridden motels. I mean, when you're trying to chase the game, when I talk to Ryan French, it's just it reminds you of how hard the grind is, and how much you really have to be invested in trying to chase your dreams. Because if you don't have certain level of backing, it's not gonna happen. It just won't.
Exactly. And how cool that you can come on to something like this, show sponsors what you're doing, show them that your game's ready if you manage to shoot a 62 at Marco Simone on Friday. Like, it's these sort of things, like, add value to the player and keep you sharp. So completely agree with Ryan. What a legend. So let's talk about stories that came out of season 1. Sofie Kibsgaard Nielsen. I watched her play on the LET Access Series this year. She won on season 1 at Medina on the Next Golf Tour, which led her to being Rookie of the Year on the LET Access Tour, gaining her LET card. And we caught up with her to reflect on how that helped her with sponsors and preparing for the season ahead.
It was big to be a part of this and have all the eyes on you. I think it just opened doors for sponsors, and yeah, people actually got to know my name.
We then got Sofie to talk about how this helped her as her first season as a professional on the LET Access Series.
The win boosted my confidence for sure. I kind of came out of off-season and was just prepared to give it all. I think coming out as my first year as a pro, it was important for me to just like take one tournament at a time, but still coming out with a win on the next golf tour was big for me.
And finally, we know on the next golf tour, if you play on Friday, you might have to wait till Sunday to find out if you won. Now, we needed to see how nerve-wracking that moment was for her.
The moment when I figured out that it was real money, I got more nervous, especially the round where I won. On the 18th, I was like, my hands were shaking, and I got all those feelings, and I think it was very fun to experience that outside of the golf course and actually indoor. Like, I looked at the leaderboard maybe like at least, I don't know, 10 times a day the first 2 days, and then at the end I was like, every 5 minutes I was like, is there somebody new that's beating me? But yeah, I was very like into it, and I remember the last few hours. On the last day, I was like just sitting there waiting for the leaderboard to like close, and yeah, and we prepared. I had a champagne and I popped it right when I found out. Yeah.
Doug, let's have a quick chat about Sofie. How impressive that win. 10% of the field last season was female, and she beat the men.
What Sofie did last year to win that championship was fantastic. But what I find really interesting about that win is the fact that she had to wait around. You know, the anticipation and how excited you can be when you're waiting around like that to see if you win. It's kind of like if you're going into a playoff in a normal tournament, but you get those real life nerves and scenarios even in your simulator setup.
It is. If you get that confidence, it can spiral. And it certainly did on her LET Access tour. She won 3 more times on the LET Access, Rookie of the Year.
You can't take it lightly. $30,000 is life-changing, especially when you're going to apply it to your career.
Now, Doug, there's a bit of a gaming element because we can watch the players play. We're going to be able to see some creativity in those TrackMan studios. We saw some outfits last year, and there's going to be some money up for grabs with that sort of stuff as well.
You know what? I'm looking forward to the social element because part of this tour is making, you know, your space and your game your own and sharing your experience with the world, really. So I'm interested to see. Last year we saw a couple guys actually do a whole broadcast studio as one of the players was playing, you know, in the tournament. So what will we see? How will players be creative? I don't know, but go ahead and figure it out. And I'm here for the watch. Let's just be honest. I'm here for that. I want to see the drama. I want to see the creativity, and I want to see some low scores. Matter of fact, as this season progresses, I do believe you and I had already discussed plan for something. What the something is, we haven't decided yet. But
so does that mean I got to dust off my bats and start practicing? Is that what you're saying?
If in London or England you say bats for golf clubs, absolutely.
They're my babies, my bats. Right, I'm going to do this. Lowest score wins. We'll work out which one we can play in, and we'll go head-to-head.
All right. I'm down, and I'm also down to see, and this is selfish, but I'm all I beat. Because I tell you, there's been some PGA Tour players play on this. There's going to be some athletes and celebrities, and a lot of people have access to this. I'm mostly, for me, this is just me, Doug Smith. I'm looking to see whose ass I beat. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Let's take a look at what's new in Season 2. Okay, now this is super, super smart. Similar Augusta vibes we've got here. You can click on your favorite player, watch the live leaderboard, and this is such a good feature. You can see on a slight delay the TrackMan shot and the swing. How good is that? Doug, what do you think about that?
I hate any of this functionality. Let's just be honest and clear. The fact that you can go in, click, and watch, you know, the playback. So if you don't believe that someone actually did what they said they did, well, you can go back and actually check the tape. Let's go back to the instant replay. You see it right here, bottom left of your screen. You're going to get a full shot, and that's through the recording app. Make sure you download those, or that, should I say. And then you have the full screenshot of your sim on the right, and everybody can fact check. Look, you talk about protecting the field, Rachel. That's how we protect the field.
We might see some hole-in-ones here. Bit of live
We're gonna
action,
see all of the above.
live footage.
All of it. I can't wait. I want to, but I'll be the highlights. But I'm also looking forward to seeing the lights. I want to see who hits it in the water when they got a 2-shot lead, but they don't know yet because it's day 2 of a 10-day open window for the tournament window. Like, I want to see the smoke and the drama. I think that's going to be kind of where I live. I'm going to go look for the 7s in the cards, and then I'm going to click through and watch it. Facts.
I want to see the reaction to those 7s.
Yeah.
You know, not just the footage, the raw swearing. You know.
Well, I have a question. Will we see a club go through a screen this season? Will we see it?
Well, they might have their sponsors to impress, Doug. Not the one to do that.
I'm saying one person is gonna throw a club through the screen. There's gonna be at least one. It might not put a hole in it. It might just be a small tear. But somebody is going to get so pissed off, and they just gonna let that thing fly tomahawk style. It's not gonna be all smiles and roses and cart flips and back flips. There's gonna be some, somebody might break the track, man. That might happen too.
No.
I'm just saying. We're talking about just the play, right? One thing that we're not talking about, where there's also additional money that can be earned, is in kind of the daily games, the closest to the pin contest, the longest drive, most greens in regulation. Now the pin, I have to say this, it's an aggregate closest to the pin. So it's an average of all 4 or 5, however many par 3s are on said golf course. It's an aggregate score. So whoever has the cumulatively lowest average proximity, that's the person that's going to win that closest to the pin contest. But, Rachel, another thing, we're giving out money for those social engagement posts where people are going nuts on their own social channels. You can go up to $2,000, and it's going to be voted on by, well, us. Each week, we're going to give away free money. We'll give away free money. Who hates that? It's time to get down to what it is about. Why are we here? What is this all for? All right, so we had a chance to catch up with Marco Simone, Season 1 winner, Jeppe Christian Andersen, and let's see if he can walk us through how to play a golf hole here at Marco Simone.
You see the motion, hocus pocus, change from the lotus, we hop inside that locomotive.
Here we are on Marco Simone Golf and Country Club, 16 hole. This is what I'm thinking. Aiming just on the first left bunker. Let's give it a go.
She say I'm a god, told me you practice what you preach.
The save option on this hole would be, for me, a 2-iron, trying to hit it just before the water. So I will have a wedge into the green, trying to hit it to 30 meters.
Switch it, hey, go on and switch it up.
Here we are on the fairway on 16, easy wedge shot. Green is sloping a little bit to the right, so I'm aiming one meter left of the pin.
She's coming back to my home. Say you with what is in your mind? No.
Sorry, that music had me cracking in here. And by the way, Jeppe is playing in this week on the DP World Tour. They're in South Africa at the Joburg Open. So he's a baller in the simulator space. He's out there balling right now on the green grass. Let's go.
The action starts today, and on Sunday, 3rd of December, we will crown our first champion of Season 2. Doug and I will be back on Tuesday, the 5th of December. Doug, are you ready?
Where else can you go and get an interactive look at someone's round live while they do it? Well, right here on the Next Golf Tour. This is where tomorrow's stars will be. They'll start here, and then they'll make it to any tour of their choice. The only question we have is who's next?